Do WWE still care? Co-opted, that'll make sense in a minute. And of course, what we've been geeking on and your weekly rad. Now here's the host of your show. That's me, Mike and Deglio. What is up, everyone? Welcome to K&M Geekly. Just a sneak peek at today, a trio of geeks talking about what's getting them through their week. I am joined by my brother from another mother, Ronnie P. And of course, my brother from our mother.
The same mother.
Yeah, Nick and Deglio. And Keith Varney looking fly over there in his cartoon alt. You'll have to get used to it because he is, being the best ex-husband money can buy, helping out with an audition today. So unavailable for the show. And you know what? That's fine. We had an argument, Keith and I, not an argument. We had a very spirited discussion on one of our other podcasts about AI and such. And so we were going to talk about that today, but then Keith couldn't make it, and I'm not going to have the conversation without him. So we're punting on that, but we've got other things to talk about. Gentlemen, first, how's your week going so far? Ron, I know you're working. Tell us a little bit about the Philadelphia Car Show and what the hell you're doing there.
Yeah, so I will be at the Philadelphia Car Show all week long. So stop by the Lincoln Tech booth. Come say hi to me. I'll sign some autographs for you. It was packed. Like, we got slammed the other day. And it's just really cool cars, man. But I'm not a car guy, so it doesn't really affect me or faze me. I'm more about nerding, not cars, guys.
Yeah.
But if you like cars, stop down. And it's right next to Redden Terminal. And the best cheesesteaks all around. Uncle Gus's, Redden Terminal. Dude, Mike, I was a big pig yesterday. I housed 2 of those cheesesteaks yesterday. I housed 2 of them.
All right.
I know.
That's okay.
I know.
You taking your statin?
I need it.
I will say, I'm not really a car guy either. Nick, that's more. Well, Nick, you just like to get new cars. You're not really a car guy, I don't think. But
yeah,
I will say that I'm intrigued with tech these days. The tech in cars is cool. I mean, as far as the most advanced I have is I have wireless CarPlay now. But you've had a fully electric car, Nick, and you can speak to the tech of that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I loved my electric car. It was a Chevy Bolt 2022. I wish the range had been a little bit longer because it really would have probably let me keep it and extend it. But unfortunately, a lot of the perks and a lot of the things that were bringing electric cars to the forefront have kind of fallen by the wayside at this point. Just one quick example of that. Pennsylvania now has an electric car tax. Since you're not paying gas, you have to pay a separate tax now since you're not paying gas, which defeats the purpose of having an electric car. But interestingly, even more interesting than all of that is, I was waiting to say this because I knew Ronnie was going to talk about being at the car show. My buddy Rick and his wife Christy are in Arizona for a conference this week. And last night they took the Waymo self-driven taxi to and from their condo to the restaurant and back. So this car that's not being driven by a person showed up at their house, picked them up, took them to the restaurant, dropped them off, and then picked them up again afterwards.
Dude,
yeah, I did it.
Crazy.
I did it twice in San Diego. When I was in San Diego, we did a Waymo that took us to a restaurant and brought us back to the hotel. It was fine. They're slow and very intentional, but I mean, if you're only going in a city, I see the function of that very much. As because you're in standstill traffic anyway. But just a quick point. I'll talk about this later in my weekly rad. But it is taxes included, right? When you put gas in your car, that is a resource that can be used exactly once. It burns, we light it on fire, and it's over. Whereas your electric car can do so many charges per year. So like a general estimate for a sedan, if you've had your sedan for 10 years, it's not a truck or whatnot, just a sedan, you burn about $20,000 in gas per the ownership of the car. So you add that up to how much electric would take. I think over a 10-year span, you're saving a ton of money. And the infrastructure and such. So all of the logistics still point towards electric being our future, solar specifically, but that's a conversation for a different day. So check Ronnie out at the Philadelphia Car Show. Very cool.
Hey, Mike, can I just say something real quick?
Please, always.
Both of you, why are you in cars with no people in there? You're not scared? That sounds crazy to me, dude. No.
You do the number one cause of death, planet wide, I believe, is car crashes and accidents. I trust.
100%.
I don't trust drivers of cars, let alone this thing is
robot
robot going 25 miles an hour, sure.
Oh,
if I got to decide between a robot and you driving while you're texting, I pick a robot, dude.
You know, Terminator is coming to life. Like, no one listened to Sarah Connor. Like, this is really happening. Like, I don't understand this. There's no way in hell you get me in a car that's fully automated or whatever the term is. I'm not doing that.
You get in a car with your 6-year-old daughter, your 16-year-old daughter?
I am there though. I am there watching her. I can like take the wheel. You cannot. Can you take the wheel with these cars? These robotic. What do we call them? Wait, what do you call them?
Waymo.
I think Waymo, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you like take the wheel of a Waymo? Or?
No. Can you take the wheel of a cab?
No.
Hey. Are we on air or not? Should I say something absurd?
No, we're on air. And listen, you came late, so it's too late for the AI conversation. Though we'll get our feet wet this week. We're talking about self-driving cars.
Self-driving cars.
Are you jumping in? Are you I'm the only one with actual experience, and I will say it was a delight. I've been in 2, so my sample size is very low, but it was direct, it was safe, it was plodding, I was not worried. It was much easier than trying to find your cab or whatnot. I mean, so, you know. And
Keith, the way it came up was we were talking about the car show because Ronnie's working the car show in Philly right now. And my roommate from college, Rick, is in Arizona right now. And they just took a Waymo for the first time. So that was surprising. Now, Ronnie was giving that, that scares him. And the point I wanted to make before we get to your opinion, Keith, is simply that I don't like people. So Ubering and Lyfting and ride sharing and all that stuff, I dread it because I don't want to be in a car with someone I don't know and have to feel like I have to talk to them. So even if it were more dangerous, I would prefer the self-driving car that I don't have to associate with.
I aggressively agree with that opinion.
Now,
I will walk 5 miles not to take a cab.
In fact, since, what do you call it? Uber and Lyft and whatnot is the default at this point, you pay extra money to tell them to not talk to you, right? So they're building in these options that will be monetized and whatnot. So
unbelievable.
At some point, just,
unbelievable.
Now,
actually very believable.
Now, at scale, the conversation about safety and, if you have 60% the robots using the same maps and then 40% humans doing whatever humans do, I understand there are complications. But much like other technologies emerging, like we just said, gas cars versus electric cars, yes, there are infrastructure issues to deal with, but I think it's pretty clear where the data points to as far as longevity, where we should be going and have to go at some point. It's a finite resource, fossil fuel.
No, for sure. And again, to reinforce, as an autistic, the social interaction of being in a car with a stranger,
I never even thought of that really, actually. Yeah.
Horrible. Mm-hmm. It is so stressful. I will go so far out of my way not to deal with that. Even if we're not talking, I'm more likely to be comfortable talking because then I'm asking and I'm doing my thing. I just hard no. Uber, absolutely not. Forget it. I'm getting into some weird stranger's car. Anyway, point being, what this makes me think of is us adopting elevators, automatic elevators. And that there was a similar transition that we all had to make as a culture going to not have an elevator operator. And that it was so scary for people to think that a machine could control the elevator, that is the reason for elevator music. And the reason elevators are so fancy looking on the inside is to coax people afraid to go into an automatic elevator. And so that was why we adapted those systems, because people were afraid to do it. I think eventually it is driving your own car is going to be an affectation and not a default. And I think the technology will get to the point that that's fine, assuming AI hasn't ruined everything and we're not, everything's going to be a microtransaction. Would you like to stop at this stop line? Pay 50 cents.
Yeah, right. That is definitely a potential multiverse future. I think about, just to keep it whimsical, since we've punted on that full conversation, I think about some of the sort of lingering myths that have still to sort of. I'll give you the example, the escalator, right? Think about the escalator and remember, your mom telling you it is the most dangerous thing that has ever existed. When you get towards the top of those stairs, it will take your feet off. Remember that?
I'm still scared.
I know.
Terrified. My heart still skips a beat.
Yeah.
Yes.
The truth is, I don't think it's even remotely more dangerous than like the steps, than like slipping on the steps. But
I'm sure it's a great deal less dangerous.
But it was something that like put into your brain. Our society decided like this is a way we're gonna. I couldn't even tell you like the reason that we had that kind of a thing or
like quicksand.
Yeah, quicksand.
Like quicksand. Well, you get something stuck in it or whatever. And you have all those horror movies. I'll say this about escalators, and where we dumb Americans are still behind. So I was in Korea like 15 years ago. You know what happens on their escalators when nobody's on them?
They go fast?
They stop?
Oh.
They stop.
Smart.
And they're not running in perpetuity. You go to the escalator, it turns on. You get off, and it turns off. In the same way that they're speaking of elevators, when you hit the wrong button, you just hit it again, and it cancels that floor.
I always wonder, like
2011.
Why don't we have like the moving sidewalks that you see at airports, like at scale?
Yeah.
Like, why aren't they in department stores? Why aren't they in places where we're trying to move a buttload of fat people? You know what I mean?
Well, A, probably to help with that, and B, maintenance and scale. People don't want to pay for it. Who's paying for that?
I also think about remember the Mr. Yuck stickers in the 80s?
Oh, yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, for the cigarettes and poison.
Yeah, that ruined me a little bit. Like for a little germaphobe kid. You don't remember the
little green circular stickers?
Did you have parents?
I think so.
They gave them to us in school and told us to put them on our parents' cigarette packages.
Kidding.
My mom, no, she would have beat me up, man. No, this is the 80s. My mom would have kicked my ass if I would have done that.
I think I just put it on my brother. I think that was the right.
Yeah,
yes, the Mr. Yuck.
Yeah,
I don't remember that. No, but my mom would have she would have whooped my ass with the belt. Dude.
There was one on our remember Ajax, that like powdered cleaner?
Sure.
That was on.
Oh, yeah.
And that thing, Ajax messed me up because I was so afraid to be poisoned that it was even in the house. I would stay up at night and think about I was breathing in poison because of that. So, we don't even have to get into the say no to drugs.
We don't, Mike, but quickly, you know how you pointed out how our mom, our shared mother, instilled the fear of escalators into us. When I was a young child, prior to Mike being born,
this is a good story.
I was not allowed to run.
Mm-hmm.
My mom thought running was dangerous. So therefore, instead of running, because this was at the time when I used to love and watch the $6 Million Man with Lee Majors, I would run in slow motion, making the $6 Million Man sound. And everyone in the neighborhood and all my family, exactly, Keith, thought I was probably an autistic.
I mean, that
didn't exist then. But you know.
That is cuckoo bananas, man. That is cuckoo bananas.
Yeah, there were some control issues in our family looking back.
You think?
Yeah. We'll talk about therapy another day, although it's a great conversation. Let's jump into Keith. I was telling the boys before, it's easier for me to just do all the imaging and post, so don't worry about that you see nothing.
I
not
never worried about it in the first place.
Yeah. Let's go around the horn and talk about some things we've been geeking on this week. Let's start. Well, we'll give Keith a minute to catch up since he just joined the show.
Make me last, please. I'm like, I panicked.
Ronnie, let's go to you. What have you been shockingly afraid of while you were in your automated cab?
Yes. Well, this is what gets me through the night. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is going to be the new She-Hulk. Ewan McGregor's wife.
Wait, so not the She-Hulk? Oh, the Marvel She-Hulk?
Marvel She-Hulk.
Okay.
Yeah, the other girl's gone. Yeah, she's done. She's out. So
Tatiana Maslany?
She's gone, man. Yeah, she is gone.
Oh, She-Hulk.
She-Hulk.
Yeah, She-Hulk.
Hulk.
Yeah, She-Hulk. Like
Hulk?
Like,
ah!
I thought you were saying,
Yeah, me too.
She-Hulk.
Drying a hawk.
No, She-Hulk. She-Hulk. Bruce Banner's cousin.
There's an L in there,
Yeah.
you know.
Hulk. We've now created the new Haktua.
Yeah, yes, we did. It's gonna go viral.
You're gonna do the Hulk tour.
I'm pumped about that, dude. I'm just pumped about Marvel and everything. So I'm just really pumped about. And I love her. She's great in everything. Remember her in Fargo? You guys watch Fargo with her in it?
Oh, she's rock solid. I mean, we watched her in the Die Hard movies, but also I think of her from Final Destination.
Yeah.
She's in Final Destination?
In like 2 or 3 or 4, one of those. Yeah.
See it? Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow, I gotta check them out again now.
I'll say so the upcoming She-Hulk and the casting thereof. Okay, cool. Nick, what about you? What's one thing you've been checking out this week?
I'm gonna have to go with I had it narrowed down to either the Secret Mall Apartment documentary, which we watched yesterday, or Frankenstein, the Guillermo del Toro, which we watched on Friday. I'm gonna go with Frankenstein because 3 of us watched it. Danielle's mom, Mrs. B, and me. Rita slept through it. So Danielle liked it, Mrs. B liked it, and I liked it. So the fact that 3 of us with very different opinions on what we like in movies all were at a consensus that we enjoyed it, particularly the set design, the imagery, the coloring, put the story aside, just how that movie looked was beautiful. So really enjoyed Frankenstein. And to be honest, I really wasn't expecting to. So for me, it was a bit of a surprise, and I would go with that for sure.
Yeah, I tried watching that, but I don't know, man. I just wasn't in the mood for it. Me and Lexi tried watching, and it just didn't grab me right. I know it's Oscar nominated. I know it's supposed to be a great movie. It just didn't grab me right away, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I really liked it. I saw it in the theater. I think Del Toro has been making versions of Frankenstein in all of his movies, basically from the get, and so now he got a stab at it. I think, like Nick said, the production design is its strongest suit. I think him getting a snub at director makes a little bit of sense because it did get a lot of love aesthetically for those awards. If you put any stock in the Academy Awards, which, it's not really about the the creative pursuits. But I agree. Yeah, some of it's great. But one thing it does kind of flesh out is that, Mary Shelley was what, like 15
18
when she wrote that? Yeah. So it's very horny, and it's very it's very Twilight meets like 50 Shades is basically what she was writing. She was writing kind of like smutty horror back then, and that's kind of what is displayed here.
Yeah, the story.
Body parts sewn together was the first sexy vampire.
It's an interesting concept. Yeah, and the fact that whole story came about because she was with some friends and I think her future husband, and they were telling ghost stories, and then they basically said, let's have a competition, and they all wrote a series of ghost stories, and hers was Frankenstein. And there were like 3 or 4 other stories from her other friends that actually were quite popular. One was a vampire story. But how cool is that, right? Like these 4 people who have created enduring legacies, from just kind of like hanging out and being kids.
I mean,
pretty
that's
cool.
what this show's going to turn into, right?
Yeah. If only we were 15 or 18. Keith, what about you this week?
Yeah, well, I had to go into my Plex to remember what I've watched because, brain is bad. I would normally talk about, I watched all 3 seasons of White Lotus, which was very enjoyable. But I want to go in and speak about the remake of Anaconda.
I saw that pop up.
They just put out. So I just watched it. This is the Jack Black, Paul Rudd, Steve Zahn, Thandie Newton thing, and universally reviled by critics and savaged by everybody related to the business. I do not believe it did well, and so I went in with those expectations, like this was going to be terrible. And I say this as somebody who loves the first Anaconda. Saw it in the theaters.
This is a remake, right? It's not a sequel.
Same.
It's sort of
it's
neither.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the concept of it. But I love the first one. Saw it at a drive-in when it first came out on a double bill with The Lost World.
Were you on a date trying to get your Anaconda serviced?
I don't think I've ever done that. No.
His Anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun.
Or popcorn, if whatever.
Anaconda don't want none unless you come to my basement in New Jersey and then go away.
Come to my basement. Yikes.
Let's clip that out. Clip that right out.
Clip that out. Straight up serial killer territory.
Redacted. Redacted.
Unquestionably. I like the the bully or what's the overlay logic that the vector, whatever it is, between serial killers and just perfectly nice, sweet autistics there's a lot of overlap there. Anyway, so the point being, love the original movie. It's hot trash, but like so enjoyable hot trash. And so the concept of this movie is a couple of out of work actors and dreamers who are our age decide, you know what, midlife crisis is going to be remaking Anaconda or making a sequel to Anaconda. And so they're from Buffalo, and they pull all their money, and then they go to the Amazon and try to make a new version of Anaconda with no money. And it's such a sweet and fun concept. And I love this. I don't know, maybe it just hit me because like I'm also a dreamer still trying to hold on to a career at this advanced age who happen to love that era of movies. It's a ridiculous comedy. It's not scary like you want it to be. The effects are like meh. The writing is meh, but I've still found it charming, and I got on board and taking it for what it is. I had fun. It's so light. It's ridiculous. I would have preferred that we make another Anaconda movie at a high budget and really try to make it a scary snake movie. But honestly, the first one wasn't a scary snake movie either. So it was also, when you're 17, you don't realize how much of a tongue-in-cheek it actually is. But it really, really was. But anyway, I enjoyed it. Go in with low expectations. Don't go in the comedy is not going to break your world. It's not Bridesmaids. Like it's like a PG-13. It's also like, yeah, that's clever. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun. They shot on location. It was beautiful.
I will. Okay, so then I'll just list these two real quick. I want to start with I finished Ghost of Yotei last night. I stayed up till 2:30 in the morning. Yeah, because when I saw you guys last on Saturday night, I was on the last final boss, and so I was just kind of like checking off some side quests until I got to the final thing. Just a reminder for those who weren't paying attention, Ghost of Yotei is a 2025 action-adventure game. Sucker Punch Studios, sequel in their very successful first Ghost of series, published by Sony PlayStation, first party. It's been a while since I've gotten hook, line, and sinker hooked into a game. The narrative, the gameplay, getting to the end when you're sort of so skilled at the combat that you're just liquid death, like waiting to get attacked so that you can just use all of your tricks and such. And I wanted to just point out, so obviously I'm a shill for the game. I love it. I've loved it. I loved the first one. I think this story, while not as complex as the first game, is much more enjoyable for me because it's very much a Western, a Kurosawa Western revenge tale and how that changes you. So no like shocking surprises, but it hits all of the beats that are very satisfying about a spaghetti Western type samurai film. But I want to say, what I want to commend is what this game does better than many that I can remember is when you get to the end game, in a lot of games you get to that point where it's like, okay, if you get on this boat, you're going to the last leg. So like, just know that you're wrapping things up. So make sure you have all the stuff you want. Usually after that, it's like, it feels disconnected. There's like the last shoot is sort of disconnected from the game or whatnot and less focused or this is probably the best last chapter of a game I've played in a long time. The way it sets up the final set pieces of the story and the final battles and ties it all together, really satisfying, really compelling. I stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning because I had to see it through. I'll probably go back and check everything off and platinum it, but if I put the controller down at the end, I just felt wholly satisfied with this experience. I'm so excited and yet sad because now I have to do that thing that Ronnie's doing. It was just like, I don't know what's next. Mm-hmm. It's a terrible dilemma, but okay. I buried the lead.
And I'm still looking.
So, he's still looking. You
just go back and play Red Dead again. That's all I do.
It's all he does. So, I also want to talk about, I watched Marvel's new Disney Plus joint Wonder Man. I watched the first 3 episodes of 8. And I will keep this spoiler free. as I know we have some Marvel fans on the show, so I don't want to spoil anything. But I'll say this: this is a show in Marvel's, I think it's called their Spotlight series, where they're basically saying you don't need to know all of the machinations of the movies around it to enjoy it. And that's great because I barely remember stuff. I barely remember who the Mandarin is, who is a character that is referenced often in this property. So I'm a good test case for this. Ron, I know that you said you were like lukewarm interested about even watching it.
Well, it's about the industry, which is cool, but this Marvel shows have been so bad. And I'm a Marvel guy, dude. They've been really bad. I like WandaVision and Loki. Those are great. The rest, like Secret, what was the one with Samuel Jackson?
The Secret Wars.
Secret Wars.
I just started that, actually.
Oh, stop, Keith, stop, abort. Don't do it. Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
I can't.
Secret Invasion, I think.
Secret Invasion. Yes.
As soon as if I dip into a thing, I have to do all of it. I don't have I can't pip and pop like Mike. I'm not capable of it.
I warned you, buddy. I warned you.
So I'll say
I've seen a lot of bad stuff. Don't worry.
So I will say I feel very similarly, Ron. Like a lot of the stuff has not captured my attention or whatnot, but I'm not as like hype as you are generally about Marvel. So it whatever. I'm happy to just abort or whatnot or not watch it. I did like WandaVision as well. Regardless, Ben Kingsley and Yahya Abdul-Mateen are sort of the currently, from what I've seen of the first 3 episodes, are sort of the main 2 performers here. One is playing Simon Williams. The other is playing Trevor Slattery, who plays into the general lore. I barely remember his turn from I think Iron Man 3. Kind of. But you don't need to know any of that. This is a very standalone story. And though it's...
And Shang-Chi.
And Shang-Chi,
not just Iron Man 3 and Shang-Chi.
He wasn't Shang-Chi. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They sort of give you some context about what all was there, but the basic premise is outside of those walls for the most part. Okay, so let me just frame it this way. Episode 1 presents the first 15 minutes of episode 1, and these are 30-minute episodes, which is smart, I think, presents a movie that I fell in love with the first 15 minutes. I thought, in my opinion, yes, it does have to do with the acting business. It's one of the most realistic portrayals of the acting business and about a struggling actor. Ron, I can't help but see Simon Williams and see you specifically, a man of color trying to like make his way in Los Angeles, trying to do the work, and yet at every corner being sort of shit on, right? Like,
it sucks.
And the way he attacks even the smallest bit parts or a commercial or whatnot is really, the work he does is very sound. Like it's an incredible performance that Yahya is giving. Of course, he runs into Ben Kingsley and the plot begins. Ben Kingsley is doing inspired work where he could easily be phoning it in. They are giving incredible performances. Whatever relationship is budding between them is really compelling, and I'm falling in love with the show. The second half of the first episode presents the sort of superhero slant of it, or some questions regarding that. And in my head, I'm thinking, wow, I really hope we do the first show because I'm less interested in that stuff. So with trepidation, I started episode 2. Episode 2 is the show saying, we're doing both. So if you're expecting us to make a choice, we're not. We're doing both. To which I said, okay. Episode 3 locked me in. And it's mostly the performances, and there's some central questions, and it's really good. I mean, they could totally fumble the ball, I'm sure, but where I am in almost halfway through the series, I'm really compelled. It's very beautiful in many respects. And even the superhero-y stuff, I'm really curious about. I don't know who Wonder Man is, or like what. I don't know like Simon Williams, if he is. I don't know. So maybe it's hitting me better because I don't have any context. But I'm really, really enjoying it. So that's Marvel's Wonder Man. All of the episodes are available on Disney Plus and Hulu streaming now.
I heard it's good. I've heard good things.
Makes me want to see that because you don't like Marvel like that.
No.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe it would be better not being Marvel at all, right? If it was just the central story is that compelling that I don't really need any other BS. But I don't know where it goes yet. So we can reapproach this when more of us have watched it. But if you were on the fence, I say give it a go. It's also shot very well, and it's clearly on location. It's not the volume everywhere. So that's nice to see. Okay. Folks, we're going to talk about wrestling now.
Uh-oh.
If you are even remotely not interested, I would suggest you click off, we thank you, or click on the things below to our weekly rad and say goodbye, because this will probably be in. So
let me tell you something, brother.
The 20.
You ain't going nowhere. Right here, we're doing it right here. Come on, it's good Hogan, right? Come on, that was good.
There's no such thing as good Hogan. What's good about, like, pick any his wrestling, his politics, his behavior, his acting, his hairline. What is good about in any way, shape, or form?
So there's so many different ways we could approach this. The 2026 Men's Royal Rumble was this past weekend. It was in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, and they paid $1 gajillion for it, and there were political and misogynistic moral overtones and all kinds of compromises, and those are all things I want to talk about, like, because the question for me now is like, who is this for now? Who is it for? Because it's definitely not 12-year-old me. But before we do that, let's just go through the show of the show, right? I will say that technically it's pretty cool. They built how many thousand seat stadium in 10 days?
25,000. Yeah, 25,000 seat stadium in 10 days.
And they got almost 50 people in there.
Yeah, that's that goes back to the who is this for? There's so many questions I can't answer, but let's just go through it first. Let's talk about it as a show level. They ran it through in about, I think, three plus hours. We started with the Women's Royal Rumble, to which I don't know any of the people.
Me neither, Mike.
Notably, I'll say that Charlotte Flair came in first. And here's the funny part. I couldn't tell you who won. It was Liv Morgan, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. It ran, looks like about, this doesn't have it on there. Just over an hour, yeah.
And I was begging them to start that match without me because I don't care about the Women's Royal Rumble. I'm sorry.
Now, but in all honesty, why is that? Why do you not care?
No, honestly, I think it's over. Like the Royal Rumble growing up, because we saw it together as kids, man. Growing up it was a big event, but it's it's overload, man. It's too much. I don't need 2 Rumbles in one night. It's too much. Yeah. So maybe split it up. Maybe Monday Night Raw, put it on Monday Night Raw. Not the same card. It's just not the same to me, man. And if the women have a better storyline going on, I'm all for it. But the men's this year storyline was amazing. You have Roman Reigns is back, Brock Lesnar, you got main event Jey Uso. You have so much good stuff going on the men's side. With the women's side, you just said it best. We didn't know half the people. I had to ask Nick, Nick, who's that? Who's that? And I watched the product. I am a WWE, they call it a mark. A mark is a guy who watches wrestling. I'm a mark, and I don't know these people. So, yeah, put it on. I didn't want to watch it. And, I mean, I'm glad we did watch it because it was cool seeing Brie Bella come back. That was awesome. But, yeah, I don't really care.
And Ron, just to jump onto that real quick, when you talk about the controversy that exists in the politics of this whole thing, we have a culture that, obviously women are treated differently in that culture. When the women from WWE started making appearances at these annual Saudi shows, they, their bodies have to be fully covered. And it was clear to me, at least, that with the exception of some of the fans sitting up front where, so in Saudi, apparently, before you are of adult age, the girls, the daughters or whatever, are allowed to attend events and things like that. So there were females attending that were kids who were cheering for all the women wrestlers and everything like that. But as empty as it was the whole night, it was even emptier for the Women's Rumble. So you're literally watching disrespect. Now, for our culture, what we would consider disrespect, but more importantly, a scenario that all of those women, the 30 women featured in the Rumble, none of them really have come from the independent scene. They don't know how to work a crowd of 15 people or 100 people. They're used to the WWE machine and working the TV of the WWE machine. Couple that with the fact that a Rumble is essentially a battle royal, and they haven't worked a lot of battle royals, so they also don't know the logistics of how you make a match like that really good. It's a recipe for disaster. I don't know why creative wanted the women's Rumble match to take place in Saudi. Ron, I'm with you 100%. Monday Night Raw is in Philadelphia tonight. Yep. They should have done the women's Royal Rumble in Philly tonight. Can you imagine? The place would be insane. You would have sold out Monday Night Raw in Philly, and you would have had the most spectacular crowd reaction when Brie came back. All the things they did actually would have hit. Yep. You know, everyone's complaining. One of the things people are complaining about is Becky Lynch's elimination by Natalya. That would have gone over huge in the States, but it just fell flat because the whole thing fell flat in Saudi. So. I'm just jumping on Ron's bandwagon saying 2 Rumbles in one night is just too many.
Well, I didn't feel that way when it was in Detroit or Indianapolis or whatever it was. Okay. I didn't feel that way then. And like I really enjoy women's wrestling. I know most of these characters and I think they're great. But I think the location really is it's hard to watch. It is hard to watch, you know, women having to adjust what they're doing for a culture that specifically disrespects them. I mean, it's like, you know, it's only within the last 10 years that they would be allowed to drive to the arena to do their job.
That's crazy.
Right. Now, I am perfectly aware that the United States culture is not particularly great for women right now, or pretty much anybody. But it's like, and you know, and I said this on the thread. I'm like, wow, I can't believe we're here. I'd have a lot more to say about the human rights records of the country that they're wrestling in right now if they weren't coming from the country they're coming from, and all of our own human rights records problems happening right now. But it's just, it's uncomfortable. It is really uncomfortable to watch women's wrestling in Saudi Arabia. And I don't think it has anything to do with women's wrestling or the women wrestling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I'm not blaming women. I love women wrestling too. It's just that I'm not into this current group right now because I don't watch it like I used to watch. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Like I know, like they're amazing, they're incredible. I'm like the 4 horsewomen. Like I like Sasha, I like Becky, I like Charlotte, I like Liv Morgan. These new people, I like them, but I don't know them, so I'm not invested in it. That's all I'm saying. I respect them and they can go. Those girls can go, but I'm just not invested in it.
Who's that new one? The tall one who does the crazy. So she's amazing.
Oh yeah, she's awesome. Yeah. But see, I don't know her, man.
Yeah. Now, and so she's NXT. So if you're watching NXT as a product, you're seeing probably 60% women's wrestling. Raw and SmackDown still kind of operating right now, currently under pre-women's evolution, whatever it was called, the women's revolution rules, where they're not getting as much screen time or development. So you get a lot of women thrown into tag teams and group faction situations, and you're not building individual characters. And I think that's kind of what you're saying, Ron.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Mike.
No, sure. That's a great point. I let me first make a disclaimer at top, and we can't escape the hypocrisy of this whole thing. We watched it. We're talking about it. We're a part of it. But I spent a good 4 years working for Equality Now, which is a global women's rights organization. The very first campaign I worked on there with them, with these incredible women, headed by Gloria Stein, was a board president. Was the Saudi driving there was 2. There was one was female genital mutilation campaign, which is like intense, and then the Saudi push to drive, one of which we were a part of helping turn the tide. So I'm well versed in how effed up that all is, and it's a little gross to me that Triple H and TKO and all of them hide behind that representation there is like doing some good. And while I'm sure there is truth to that, it's such lip service that it's comical to me.
They know what they're doing. They're sports washing, and they're like, it is utterly soulless.
That said,
what TKO is doing.
That said, I mean, like, I don't begrudge anybody get your paycheck, lady. You know, man, you got to put on a full bodysuit and you're going to get your paycheck, and that's the way you show them. Cool. I mean, I don't begrudge any of them. I'm just saying, like, from the top level brass people, like, you put the women's rumble on first and then try to say that that's your FU. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
That said, to your
Agreed.
guys' point, one of the reasons I used to love the Rumble in recent fandom for myself, of all of the events, right, is since I don't know any of the storylines or any of the guys or any of the people, this is an opportunity to get sort of an introduction to them, right? You get to see their entrance. You get to see how the crowd responds to them, which sort of level sets for me as to like, oh, what do people think? And then they usually get like a 30-second storytelling moment at the beginning when they enter the ring. We didn't get
some offense in. Yeah.
any of that for myself from this match because A, the Saudi crowd wasn't there. There was nobody there.
There was nobody there, right?
So
yeah.
I couldn't gauge who was over, who wasn't, and then the storytelling in the ring, those first couple seconds was so muddy until you got to your Liv Morgans, your Charlotte Flairs, your Alexa Blisses, the Rhea Ripley, Bayley for a second, you know, and then it was devoid of really any big shocker returns because in women's wrestling still there are just like a handful of names that hold any sort of like even nostalgic vibe to them. I mean, like Nikki Bella, like that's what we got, right? Which cool if you like watched the show or you remember any of that. Like, so look, it sucks because not only was it, like you said, the work is fine. It is what it is. It's not a judgment on that, but it's like, this is supposed to win your show. What we needed was like a 15-minute match to fire everybody up. Put the AJ match first. At least that was great. Yeah. Like that was an incredible match where people beat the shit out of each other and it told a great story and fired people up. And it was sort of controversial finish. Why didn't we start with that? So yeah, I'm with you guys. Like it sucked my energy out right from the top. So then we move on to the match I just mentioned, which was a retirement match between Gunther, who's sort of like the top heel in the company right now, the bad guy, wrestling AJ Styles, a perennial favorite Hall of Famer who is going to retire if he gets beat. They beat the crap out of each other for about 20 minutes. AJ loses and then retires and then like unretires. He puts his gloves back on. Hard to say.
I did some research on that. So he says he's done.
Okay.
And it was just the glove thing was just weird. I think it was like a mistake. I don't know what was going on there, but he says he's done.
Okay.
So he's not going to TNA? Because that's what the IWC is saying. He's going to TNA or New Japan. I don't believe that either, Keith. I'm just saying I don't know. Because that was really weird, man.
I mean, like a wrestling retirement is always put that in quotes. I mean, Nick, how many times have you retired now?
3, 4.
Yeah, there you go.
Here to jump right onto what Keith is saying. Here's why I think some of it we're questioning it so much because we've now been reconditioned after what John Cena did, right? John Cena just did something in pro wrestling that's never been done before. We literally just had a situation where John Cena a year and a half ago says, I am going to retire in 1 year and I'm going to come back for 1 year and it's my farewell tour. And after that, I guarantee you I will never step foot in that ring again ever. And the entire product centered around John Cena for an entire year. So now, right after that, we just so happen to get a situation of another retirement scenario. And I guess we're all kind of just assuming now that everyone is going to do it the John Cena way. You know what I mean? And we're going to get like this full year grand farewell tour. AJ Styles has been wrestling since 2002. He's been everywhere, done everything. When you really look at it from a completionist standpoint, if you're AJ Styles or an AJ Styles fan, you don't need anything else. He had the match against John Cena, which was probably my favorite match of the entire John Cena farewell run, right? They did every finish from every rivalry that was ever had between any of those, the two of those guys.
Felt like a proper retirement match for both of them, really.
Absolutely. It really did. It would have been. And then you had the debut of TNA on network TV again, and he introduces that show. The guy who made TNA, says goodbye to TNA by kind of giving them a big send off, and does the stare down with former rivals and things like that. And then he has meanwhile having a run with the tag team championship, and then this final match against Gunther, which continues to push Gunther even further than it was with the John Cena thing. That's the perfect ending for AJ. You know what I mean? He doesn't need anything else. Now, could they do an angle where they say, TNA brings him in to do a couple? I don't think that's going to happen. I actually, like Keith said, I kept reading a little bit, and I think he's done. I think for him, that was it.
I mean, if I had the magic pen, right? Especially with Gunther now having retired, Cena, AJ, and Goldberg. Come on, WrestleMania, come out as a surprise. Have the three of them come out and take Gunther out. Have Cena and AJ and Goldberg come out and just like end
That'd
it
be
like
awesome.
that. Like how the super team, the super retire, they come out like walkers. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, and you could do that against Brock Lesnar or anyone else. So it writes itself basically for that. But anyway, incredible match. That really was that stole the whole show.
Yeah, I'll say one is a bigger point, but we expect these retirement matches to be like, if we're operating under the assumption that we take them at their word, right? And I think now these guys are not, their lives aren't so revolving around it, like your Flairs and your suches, that they just can't leave, and so they keep coming back until it's like kind of sad. Like AJ's made his money, he's probably done what he needed to do, like you said, and if he says he's done, fight done unless he gets bored, right? And that's his prerogative. But it used to be that you going out the door, you give a rub to somebody, and we've gotten Gunther, this bad guy, to a place where like he's so rubbed right now. I don't know you got to do it anymore. I mean, he's retired everybody at this juncture. He's won everything. He's had incredible reigns. Like the question starts to become, okay, what are you gonna do with him now? Like, what do you do with him? Because
Brock will be next too, because Brock's retiring in SummerSlam.
Okay,
in Minnesota.
but you don't have a face of the
But then
level
what?
for him to be the Andre the Giant yet.
Well, they have to elevate. They can't have Cody do it, right? They have to elevate somebody new to take on. Like as soon as you've built Gunther up to this point, you have to bring in somebody new.
Sure. But right now, you've still got Roman, who's like, okay, kind of maybe the guy, because he's over. And then you got Cody, who was supposed to be the guy, and then neither of them are really the guy right now. So it's like, on the face side, which is usually the easiest thing to do in these, when you're telling good guy, bad guy, like who's the good guy? It's hard to say right now, which is, I think, the biggest question we're going to get to moving forward. But so anyway, but that said, forget the rub part. Have just another badass match. Like you can't point me a bad AJ match he's ever had. I've never really seen one, especially at the main events. So God bless him. Bon voyage, man. You went out. That was a hell of a match. You stole Royal Rumble for 18 people.
And speaking of bon voyage,
Ronnie's out.
Folks. Man, my thing just
I was gonna tear down the house.
Ronnie,
tear down the house.
I know your weekly rat. I'll be sure to bring it up.
Bring it up, my guy. Appreciate you.
All right.
My
Take care,
tribal
Ronnie.
chief. See you guys.
Let us know how it goes, Ron.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
All right, so we get to the men's rumble. No, just lying. We have the freaking championship match. Drew McIntyre versus a person he fought. Sami Zayn, yeah. You can tell how engaged I was. I'll let you guys talk about this. I did not watch it. Clearly.
Who Mike used to call Scott Boovy.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Keith. What was your take?
Fine. Sure. I mean, it's weird because of Sami Zayn's background, but they're obviously featuring him in Saudi Arabia because of Sami's background. He's fluent and all of that. But it's
was I supposed to know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of the build,
okay.
which only went on for a week or whatever.
But Sami Zayn is sort of the opposite of like politically, beliefs and idea wise, the opposite of what the Saudi government is there to do and trying to do. He's a progressive thinking, really guy who's probably very much deeply not on board with everything that they're doing here, like sort of like Punk. And so he's supposed to be the baby face in the dark compromise that we're making, in bed with the Saudi government. It just, so they couldn't really address it or not address it. And so it ends up amounting to sort of an uncomfortable nothing.
Yeah.
And I felt like also, I get why Sami had to be in that match. I don't understand why Drew had to win so cleanly. Sami's still, to me at least. Okay, so in the past 4 years, the biggest match and the hottest I've ever seen a crowd, I'm willing to say ever. I'm willing to say bigger than Rock Hogan, was in Sami's hometown in Canada when he fought Roman Reigns for the title.
Yeah.
Just a few months before the Cody match. I've never, ever. Sami was red hot. The whole bloodline story, Sami being part of the bloodline, then not part of the bloodline. Jay is on the fence. There's all this drama with every one of those characters. And that, if you ever want to watch back a masterclass in, building heat and getting sympathy and everything they did there, you had lightning in a bottle, right? And to me, there's still a little bit of that lightning left and all these years later. But Sami just keeps losing. And we can say it doesn't matter wins or losses, it's fake. It does matter because we see when a guy keeps losing and losing, the value that's being put on that guy because it's part of the story. It's like watching a movie. So to see him lose that cleanly, I don't think Drew needed a super clean victory in Saudi. And now what do we do with Sami? Like he's never won the title.
I think politics plays a role here. In contemporary TKO right now, that like he's always going to be the underdog because he's Sami Zayn, right? He's sort of the underdog. But look, in the real world, he's a progressive Muslim. He's not a big monster. He's never they're not gonna push him. They're not gonna give him that title run because he's so outspoken in this WWE.
So we moved to the men's rumble. I knew more people in this. I thought there, just the opposite of the women's rumble. There was a couple of new people to me, new people who made an impression. The first entrance, what was Obafemi, I think his name was.
Yeah,
that dude
I thought was
epic. He was
strong.
Huge. He did a couple he faced off with Lesnar at one point, which was really incredible. He had some really great power spots. I thought he was I was digging that.
I think if they're smart with him, you build him up to take Gunther because he is an impressive.
Is he? Do we know? I didn't get a vibe if he was face or not, but I guess. Well, who knows?
Face.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's monster face. You know what I mean? Like Braun Strowman-ish.
I thought there was. Yeah, I mean, who else am I thinking of? There was a couple other newer faces that I thought did some pretty good jobs. I mean, for me, I'll let you guys talk about it. I thought Braun Breaker had a pretty good showing, though the storytelling is muddy about what's happening with Paul Heyman, and then
he didn't even get into the ring.
Yeah, and then I thought it was production made a mistake. They're still trying to use Brock Lesnar as this huge imposing force, and yet we lingered with our camera on Jey Uso's entrance for so long. We didn't even see Brock get thrown out, eliminated, and then it's just there's a lot of muddy production work.
Muddy.
Yeah, during the whole show, and maybe I'm just jaded, but the Rumble used to be exciting. Even though the match stuff didn't really matter till the very, very end, the entrances, who's coming out next, the people you usually don't see faced off against each other. They did this weird thing with Jay and Roman. They tried to run it. None of it made a lot of sense. None of it excited me. It just felt muddy and trying to serve too many masters, which is my big conversation I want to have after this real quick. But My big conversation I want to have right after this. It was fine. I thought the finish was pretty good. I liked Roman taking it. It made sense. I thought bringing Gunther out as the last kind of person, after having already fought, kept him strong, even though he loses, and gives Roman the win, even though it doesn't feel like they have any idea what they're going to do with Roman in WrestleMania. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know what the story is, and I definitely don't feel in sure hands storytelling-wise afterwards. So as a person who watches the main events, that's it. I watch WrestleMania, I watch the Royal Rumble, and then whatever other ones you guys kind of get me to watch throughout the year. It did not serve the purpose that I think it's used to serve, which was like, hey, folks who don't watch wrestling, look how awesome this is. It just reaffirmed everything I don't like about it currently. So why don't you guys talk about the match first, and then I want to have the conversation about, like, who is this for right now? Do they know? Because it seems crazy to me. I mean, WrestleMania next year is here again. We're coming back to Saudi. For what? Do you remember when it used to be the biggest storytellings was, albeit a little xenophobic, but it was like America versus Russia, America versus Iran. I was like, yeah,
that's
I
who
know.
it's for.
You're right.
That's all that it's for.
But that's the thing. It's not even about the gate anymore because they didn't even care that nobody was there. So
they couldn't care less.
Yeah, you can't find it, right? It's on Netflix unless you're in America. If it's on America, you gotta have ESPN, Suma, whoever. You gotta. Do you have to watch the stuff? Well, you should if you want to enjoy it. Yeah, but no, you don't have to.
They don't care if you watch.
I know, but Keith, that is a problem. That's what I'm saying.
It's a problem long term, but we no longer live in a long term thinking world.
It sort of is like the I mean, it's a very yet another great specific analogy for kind of like what you lose in all of this consolidation, right? Which is any individuality or any sort of, like, say what you will about Vince McMahon, and there's plenty to say, a monster, right? But when one guy runs a thing to his vision, damned the odds, you at least get a unique thing. Whereas this just feels like a piece of crap that
not just
polished.
Finish that thought though, Mike. One guy in control of it all who owns it, which means it's his everything.
And it's his baby. Like he had it's not a pump and dump then dispose scenario. And right now, it is a pump and dump disposable product. It is like, make us the most money in the next 3 months. We'll worry about the next 3 months later. And we'll frack it for everything we've got, then we'll leave.
Yeah, I mean, it does. At the way they're. I mean, it doesn't. I don't really see a way where it doesn't end up with the Saudis just owning it outright, right?
I think we're headed there.
Yeah,
it feels that way.
I mean, because they don't care about money, right? For them, it's about sports washing their human rights records. So they lose $1 billion. Who cares? It doesn't mean anything. They just want to look like a normal country on TV. So, and once they own the company, they can make them. They're already. It's already propaganda.
Let me ask you guys this: like, you weren't ready for this conversation, but I'm going to throw it to you guys to discuss. There was an opportunity when WWE and WCW were kind of going at each other, right? And those were the two guys, and it became very much about that competition versus what was happening big picture. That was like created a window. A vacuum, if you will, for the ECW time, right? Where ECW was this very small, independent, Philadelphia-based thing that just exploded in popularity and creativity because Paul Heyman was a visionary in the space. So, because we still love watching this and the storytelling aspect of it and the sort of weird, carny, hybrid entertainment thing it is, potentially there is that same vacuum existing as this gets sort of co-opted. What would it take for a TNA or a small or something to have a chance? Like, what do they have to present to get me to watch that?
So I don't think it's possible, because look at the monopolization that has occurred in all of entertainment currently. Back then, as big as WWE was and WCW funded by, at that time, Turner Enterprises, right?
Yeah.
Before Time Warner. Those were big organizations and big companies, but they weren't mega monsters, right? So competition still existed. ECW penetrated into certain markets and made a splash and did well, but was doomed to fail regardless. There was
Never
no
made
way
any
they
money.
could never right. So that couldn't be sustained. The only way you get a competition is right now with what you got with AEW, because someone with enough money was able to get into the market. But it's just not, that product is not good enough, because whatever, there is an audience who just wants the cool wrestling matches, right? The Young Bucks style. And AEW has that audience, but that audience will never get any bigger. They have hit their critical mass, essentially, right? And the only reason that's working is because Tony Khan and the Khan family had the money for that to work. So, which makes me desperately miss. I was devastated when WCW started going downhill, because competition makes things better. And we were getting, you had key attitude error every week, trying to make the best shows possible to get people to watch, to change the channel. And you had WCW when at its peak with the NWO and all the things they were doing. It was that fight for originality. We want more fans. It was passionate. And I think the passion is now gone, and you've just got the corporate machine in a scenario where your Netflixes, your ESPNs, they're going to control the game until TKO buys. I'm sorry, until Saudi buys them.
Well, here's I have a question about that, and I like to get your opinion. Like, what would it take? And I have my answer for this, but what would it take for AEW to succeed? To be a real competitor, because they have the money. Mm-hmm. Their wrestling is better.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Unquestionably. So what's missing?
I think what's missing is the structure of the WWE creative process when it matters, right? So the WWE is using the same creative process they've used when Vince was there, except now it doesn't matter. You're living in a very PG world. We've got the Netflix contract. We got to make them happy. We got to make the Saudis happy when we're in Saudi Arabia. There's no urgency, right? There's no to make magic happen. No one is saying the ratings are down. We need to switch the title and do something, or whatever it is. We need to do something big. There isn't any of that. So what happens to products unless you care so much? Well,
because it seems like AEW cares. Like Tony Khan cares, but
I guess I just don't know that Tony Khan is the right guy to be heading creative. Maybe.
Here's my answer for it. I don't watch wrestling TV. Right, like regular TV. Like, it's too slow. There's ads. It's just no. I'm a pay-per-view only thing. And when I see AEW, I prefer the wrestling. I prefer that it's not so PG. I enjoy that. But their pay-per-views, I'm not paying $45. I'm not paying anything. Right. I'm not paying anything. And so I think it's pay-per-view distribution that is holding them back from the me's of the world. The casual fans who I just want to, I'm sort of between you and Mike, where I want to watch the pay-per-views, and I want to watch all the pay-per-views, and I have a general sense of the stories and who these people are, and I'm interested in the behind the scenes, I'm interested in the business, but I really only care about the pay-per-views. And the AEW ones, I don't have access to. And so I would probably watch the pay-per-views if they were available to me on a distribution platform. And I think that's their mistake. They have all the money, right? This is a vanity project anyway. Yes. So get yourself a deal to put the live pay-per-views up.
So Keith, do you think if they created a model similar to the original WWE network, right? $14.99 a month or $10.99 a month.
I'm not paying anything. No.
This is the answer.
It's got to be attached to something I already subscribe to.
Okay. Like a Netflix.
Like a Netflix. It's got to be on Netflix. It's got to be, because they had the HBO deal, which which, and so they had the previous pay-per-views on there. So I started going and watching them. And I was like, oh, and I watched the original All Out or All In, whatever it was. And I was like, oh my God, the Cody and his brother, like, wow, that match is crazy. And then my HBO lapsed. And so it was gone.
I think I think the opportunity that exists, and you guys are right. You're running up against infrastructure. You run up against conglomeration, and you're running up against infrastructure and streaming platforms. And as those they're doing both in the same time, right? A lot of them are consolidating. A lot of them are then bifurcating again or being sold or whatnot. And so there's no way to, even the network, right? The network was this huge thing. It was its own thing, but then they sold the library to this other thing, and now that's bifurcated onto Netflix and to ESPN, and all the content is now just, so even a Keith who's like, I just want it in one place, he gets it all over the place. The answer will be, it won't be one of these, we're looking at this through a very traditional media landscape. Subway Mania, which was just a bunch of dudes who dressed up like WWE figures and did a one-day, they would set up one-day YouTube shows where they would do a pistache of WrestleMania 6 or whatever on the D train going to Brooklyn, and then put it on the internet. 500,000 subscribers. Each video has close to 500,000 views. So you're going to get young people that are not legacy wrestlers putting it together, starting their own, that are learning in some wrestling, some way. I don't know which one will hit, but one of these independent wrestling associations with a good core about people with a good fundamental understanding of social media and YouTube and short form media are going to put something together that's going to blow up. Hopefully it won't just be ultra violent, them doing stupid stunt shit, which is also very high popular on those things. If they can get their shit together, the question then becomes when you explode your YouTube channel or your Twitch channel or whatever it is, and you start to make that money and the big guns come in and now want to buy it wholesale and put it on Tubi or whatever the hell, the decisions made in those moments will decide. But that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a radical media shift of because we watch it on TV. We watch it on streaming. Nobody under 20 does anything else than this. And that's going to be the answer if it is to survive, in my opinion. Now, I probably still won't watch it at that point. It's beyond me because I don't have the wherewithal to put it all together. It's like comics for me. My problem, I love comics, but I can only read the sort of one-offs that are self-contained. I can't keep track of all the stuff happening in the different lines and the blah, blah, blah. It just blows my mind away. So I just can't.
Yeah, nor can you afford it, Mike. No,
yeah, true.
A digital comic, a digital monthly comic, minimally is $4.99 right now. And that's low end. Like some of the specials and stuff are like $6.99, $7.99. That's one issue. You know what I mean? And like it's a very similar issue to what Keith is talking about. You're right. We're paying for so much right now that back in the day we paid $65 for a WWF pay-per-view. Now we're paying $30 a month to get the ESPN to get all the different pay-per-views. That's a better deal than it was, but it's not where things are anymore. So you are probably 100% right because my brain does not work that way. I can't live in that world because I don't understand it. To me, wrestling is still soap opera that is 365 days a year. And there's your other problem. How creative can anyone be when every week you're pumping out 2 hours of Monday Night, 2.5 hours of Monday Night Raw, 3 hours of SmackDown, right? And any of the ancillary NXT, 2 hours of NXT, and any of the online stuff. Creatively, you go bankrupt eventually. It's hard to keep up with that.
So you're going to get an independent wrestling, and I'm telling you, it's not like one being run by the old guard. It's going to be new because you're going to get guys who are, so real quick level set. Nick, you've been in the independent circuit a lot of times. Like at the top of that level, top of the independent circuit, what are you making for an appearance?
It's old, WWE guys who are making, some of them make a couple thousand for an appearance.
Okay. So you just graduated from wrestling school. How much are you making, if anything?
Nothing.
Okay.
You're not making anything.
But
you're working for free.
When you make up that first level where you're on their roster and you're getting something, what are you talking, $100 stipend maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what if there's a new wrestling federation, right? Guys, we're gonna have a very small audience, if any. But here's the thing. We're going to sign a favored nations, and every bit of the YouTube profit we're going to split when we start making it. So now you're a guy You just got out of wrestling school. It's a roster of 20 people, let's say, and we could be making 1,000, 2,000 if we can get to 1 million subscribers. That or like 12,000 a month that we're going to split amongst the guys, and that can grow. I think you can entice some young guys to fucking go out there and do it full time enough to try to spin it.
And I think that the other thing that would need to happen in that scenario is you have to allow for the multiple levels of storytelling, because these documentary series about the production of the thing are more interesting to me than the thing itself. And that is what got me into wrestling in the first place, was the behind the scenes stuff. What is this weird carny world, and like, how does this work, and what all the crazy stuff that's happening in then the characters behind the scenes. That is the most interesting part to me. That's what got me into it. But it has to be real. It can't be just another worked story like the WWE product, the behind the scenes thing. And this, and the same thing happened. Like, so I watched a documentary series about the Boston Bruins, right? And the first couple of seasons, it was like, oh, you're actually seeing behind the scenes. And then it became so curated and became just sort of a propaganda video, became the Melania movie. And it was like, oh, well, okay, so I'm just sort of watching like your Instagram feed as opposed to an actual documentary where we actually get to see behind the scenes and see anything real. And so I think they would benefit with more. I mean, like the Netflix thing about OVW, that got me interested. I considered starting to watch some of their product because I was interested in the behind the scenes stuff. And so I think you have to find a way to have multi-level storytelling, behind and in front of the curtain, and show us that. But also you have to be genuine. Like, show us the real stuff. Enough with the fake. Like, let the soap opera be the product, but show me the real stuff behind the soap opera.
What a conversation. I'm excited to see where it could. I don't want it to die. It needs to evolve. It's time. It's I think run its course. The plateau has been for so long. And in the lack of any competition, there is no way for the quality to go up. So it needs to shed its skin and evolve.
TKO buying it broke it.
Yeah.
When they bought it, it was in pretty good shape. It had good storytelling. People were excited about it. It was available. TKO it's literally fracking.
Just
like when Foley walked away, I was like, he's doing what he should be doing, and I should be doing the same thing.
It's just comical because I think back to like the central WWE moment for me, Nick, is watching Hogan defeat the Iron Sheik. I understand that was a story, and that probably wasn't very fair to whatever we were trying to associate with the Iron Sheik, but I think the hypocrisy of it still sounds okay. Let's bounce. I'll start with Ronnie. Ronnie wanted me to remind you, and I'll put it on the screen right here, that Doomsday is still coming. It is a movie he's very excited about. Didn't want to watch Mr. Wonder, but he's still excited for Doomsday. There's a countdown if you want to put it as your background. It's in December. So that's Ron's Weekly Rad, is being excited for the future, which, let me tell you, I hope we get there. We
have a future.
Nick.
Yes. Weekly Rad, it's tough. I'd have to, I'd be lying if I didn't say to the audience that I'm going on many months of a pretty significant downturn. We refer to it as depression in the mental health game. Still not a comfortable thing for people to talk about out loud. So it's very difficult and whatnot. But my depression in particular has led into a treatment-resistant depression type situation where, different medications, trying different things, different types of therapy, all kinds of stuff, which hasn't really been successful up to now, which means sometimes you have to expand your horizons and look a little bit deeper and further. So one of the things I was willing to look at is some recently FDA approved treatments where luckily insurance covers it, which makes it affordable for someone who has insurance, which I understand not everyone does. but it's a treatment called Spravato, which is an esketamine treatment, and something different than I've ever experienced before. So most of anything that I've ever done is very, very traditional in a sense, and very conservative in a sense. So stepping outside my comfort zone. And last week was my first week of an 8-week regimen, protocol, whatever you want to call it. And it ramps up these things. So I found the first week to be very, God, I don't know what the right word would be, but I'll just go with promising for now. And additionally, I got to say, I'm a little bit proud of myself for stepping outside of my comfort zone, to take a shot at something different. So I'm going to go with that for my weekly rad, and hoping we have more weeks that are good.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that's any sort of positive, forward-looking, and having the humility to say I need a hand, and to I think is Keith and I mean, we talk about this shit all the time. It is the best of things. So we wish you the best of luck. We'll continue. We'll revisit that at any time. And cool, man.
I mean, I think that the humility to open your mind to different concepts and ideas and ways of approaching problems than we were taught, right, has been one of the most influential and positive forces in my entire life. And so I think it's incredibly it's brave, but it's also the humility is the bravest part. And I've heard good things about that type of treatment. I think that's fantastic. So good on you. So I'll go with the you were dealing with the complex choice, opening minds to expanding completely new ideas. I'm going to go with the simple choice today, and that is an impulse buy that I made online randomly the other day, and it's brought me some joy. And that is my 2-pound bag of old person strawberry candies. The strawberry candies that the only reason it was worth it to go to grandma's house because she had these and Werther's Originals. You know what? They're dirt cheap. They're super delicious. They're gooey in the center, and you put them in your pocket when you go for your walk. And it's brought me a lot of joy this week, and it's going to take me a while. I hope it gets me a while to get through these 2 pounds.
That's a big 2 pounds is a lot more strawberry candy than I would expect.
Well, look, if you're going to order strawberry candy online, you're not going to, ship something from somewhere else for like 6 candies, right?
True.
Let's do this. Do you have
an ashtray on the coffee table upstairs with some of those in them for people when they come by?
I should, but I have to collect the dust to put on it because if it's not a dusty ashtray, it doesn't really work.
Good point.
I am a massive purveyor of YouTube. In fact, I do YouTube Premium because I don't want to watch ads. That's how much YouTube I watch.
Or get a good ad blocker.
Google's way too good at that.
I don't have ads on mine. We'll talk offline.
Yeah, but you can't do background listen, which is also you can't walk around with your phone playing. You can't put your phone back on without it going off.
Fair enough. That's right.
That's my number one use case. Regardless, and I've watched some weird stuff. I watch people who just shine their shoes. I watch guys and ladies do all kinds of crazy stuff. But I just sent Keith the link. I'm really obsessed with this channel right now. It's at Technology Connections. I'll put a link below.
Oh, yes.
It's just a gentleman who does techie, geeky deep dives into random stuff and with incredible research and incredibly dry presentation that I just find very compelling. He doesn't need our subs. I mean, he has 3 million subscribers and only 230 videos. Only a few more.
Okay, I was wondering. Yeah.
Some of his top videos have between 10 million views, and some of the lower ones have 5 million views. So he's making a full-time living as a YouTuber and deserves every penny, in my opinion. Just his top 5 videos right now. Portable air conditioners. Why you shouldn't like them. Your dishwasher is better than you think. Tips, tricks, and how they work, which is that's the video that got me into him. What's the deal with
gateway drug.
What's the deal with the popcorn button on your microwave? why do plugs have holes in them? And then his most recent video is a video called "You Are Being Misled About Renewable Energy." And I have to tell you, this 1 hour and 30-minute video completely reframed the way I think about solar energy, the general counter arguments to solar energy and why they are in bad faith. And it's just an incredibly satisfying video, and ends, as I was saying to you, Keith, with, in real time, this YouTuber's decision to wade into current day politics. It happens in real time. You see him decide, you know what, F it, I'm going to talk about this, and then goes on one of the most epic rants. Deserved, researched, important, and I happen to agree with it, but he even frames it for folks who might not. Reasoned, just awesome. So I am pushing it. I want more people to watch it. That's at Technology Connections. Check it out. Speak truth to power.
I watched the first half hour and then I got distracted. But I'm gonna get back to it.
Go back. It is very compelling,
speed.
Right? I was like, yeah, I need.
Yeah, it's a good storyteller.
Yeah. Okay, so
I want to know what's up with the popcorn button. I've always wondered how that works.
It's crazy, actually. Do you know the vents in there in your microwave you think is a fan? That's actually being used to sense how big the popcorn bag is, how much heat it will need, and makes a lot of actual calculations to decide how much popcorn you need, or how much it needs to spin. It's cool.
I'll decide how much popcorn I need. Thank you very much.
Yes, I don't need anyone deciding that for me.
All right, so that is Geekly. Wow, that went much for a small little episode. We talked, but hey, you know what?
How was that news?
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so I will just say, thanks to Nick, Ron, and Keith for joining us. We'll see you next week. But in the meantime, keep on doing the things you find fun. Don't let anyone yuck your yum, and keep on geeking on. Peace.